So we're back here to do free agency one. If you guys seen the last video, we were able to keep quite a few of our players, but now we get to look at the free agents. Actually, the number one thing I'm going to do is trade Garoppolo because I know we can free up that cap space, and that would help us out big time with being able to resign people and fill some much needed holes on our roster. So let's see. I'm going to see. Hopefully, I can trade Jimmy. As much as I'd like to keep him, and obviously, winning the Super Bowl and at the end of the season, you would keep him, but this is Madden, and we got Trey Lance, who's got the superstar trait, so we definitely want to trade Jimmy and free up that cap space. So let's see. There's a couple teams I already did some looking around to see, and there's some teams who don't have a quarterback at all, and so I think we're going to try to move him to one of those teams, and I forget which ones they were, but I'm pretty sure I know the Saints were one of them, and I remember thinking like, hey, that wouldn't really be a bad situation for Jimmy actually to go to either of these teams. I think it might have been, was it the Steelers? It might have been the Steelers and the Saints. And, it was the Falcons. So, I want to see who has the better pick. I'm going to start with the first round. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. So they got the 7th. I doubt they're giving up the 7th for Jimmy. Let's see, quarterback, and then the other team I just was looking at. Who was the other team? Wasn't there another team here that didn't have a starting quarterback? Maybe that was the first one. So it's the Falcons so far. Oh man, I think the Saints didn't have anybody at all. Let's see, what pick do the Saints have? I'm not really picky. I mean, yeah, you could see here and you could really, you could figure out, who's going to give me the best pick. I'm okay with just getting, I know they're not going to give this to me, but we're going to try. What's it say? I would put them over the trade cap. So Jimmy's contract, I think it's 27 mil. So we got to find a team that has 27 million in cap space and it needs a quarterback, I guess. Let's see. So they don't have it. No. So I guess that might make it a little bit easier. And really, I'm just looking to offload the caps, offload Jimmy for the cap space. So I don't really care what we get in return, like second round pick, that's cool. I'll make it work. Who they got at quarterback? Carson Wentz. Which, is not really far off from Jimmy. So I don't see the Colts. I mean, Madden is weird when it comes to that, but I would think that we'd get more for Jimmy if we trade him to a team that actually needs a quarterback. It says the Dolphins do, but they got Tagovailoa, so I don't want to mess with that. Although I might. So the Falcons. Didn't they have none? Didn't I say they had none? Yeah, we did check them. So it looks like this is going to be it. So let's see if they're willing to give me this first round pick. I doubt it. I would be shocked if they did. No, they're not even close. Wait, what did it even say, though? It says they're not willing to cooperate or something? We don't feel the offer brings enough value all comparatively to what we'd be giving up. Okay, so what about a second? 39. That's about what we gave away to get Jimmy. Will you guys do that? Done deal. Send to league office. Make it official. Okay, so Jimmy was regressing anyways. We bumped his trade value up to he was like a 79 overall. But he was basically right on par with Lance. And Lance being younger, it just makes sense to develop Lance at this point. Even though if the 49ers really won the Super Bowl, you would keep Jimmy. But in this case now we've got, $38.5 million in cap space. So that allows us to do a lot. So let's see. So probably the first thing that I'm going to do is we're going to have to get a backup quarterback for Trey Lance. I did see one because I also went through the combine and put a combine chart together for the guys that I wanted, my favorites list. So I know, I have an idea too that there's some people there in the combine, in the draft, that I'd like to pick up too. But here we'll just focus on the free agents and what we have for, holes to fill in free agency. Um, let's see. There's Kaepernick, Winston, Fitzpatrick, Mariota, Andy Dalton, Jacoby Brissett, Mitch Trubisky, Cam Newton's here. So I think Nick Foles is going to be who I sign to back up Trey Lance, simply because he's pretty similar to Jimmy in some ways, and while he's not quite as good, I think he'll be a good backup. It'd be a good veteran backup if you were looking to develop Trey Lance. He's really cheap. He's really, what it comes down to is that when you factor in the talent level and then what he's asking, he only wants like 1 year, $2 million. That's actually a really fair deal. You don't want to spend a lot of money to back up your, a guy like Trey Lance that you plan to develop. So that's a very team-friendly deal. It's only for a year. Nick Foles is a serviceable backup. Versus a lot of these guys that want a lot more money and aren't quite as good. If for some reason Trey Lance does get injured, we would be able to, we actually have somebody that, could come in and actually run the offense pretty well versus, our other options of like Tyrod Taylor, Cam Newton, Trubisky. These guys, in some areas, they're better. Like Fitzpatrick overall is better, but from a scheme standpoint and like from a stat standpoint, like I like Foles better. Even though it says that Fitzpatrick is a better fit, he is like a slight bit better. But like I said, he comes at almost twice the cost. 1 year, $4.5 million. He's like, that's $7 million. I'd rather just pay Nick Foles is a little less skilled, but pretty comparative, and I'm paying him just a fraction of the money. So I figured that would be a smart move to go with Nick Foles. Let's see, halfback. Let's see, I think halfback I want to re-sign Jeff Wilson Jr. because even there's other guys like there's Mostert, but again, it's $11 million to re-sign Mostert. We have Trey Sermon and we have Elijah Mitchell as our first and second, and we re-signed Trenton Cannon because physically he was really good. So after going through and sifting through a lot of these guys, like you have Mostert, obviously Melvin Gordon's a lot of money. You'd love to bring him in, but he's a lot of money. You don't want to spend that. So there was a couple of guys that were actually, maybe a little bit better, arguably, but I feel like for the money, and like his stats, when you look at, there wasn't a lot of players who had a comparative change of direction. Like his change of direction is 86. His acceleration, his speed, and his agility are all really good. Carrying is 82. Ball carrier vision's good. And also too, his strength is 75, which is important. Sometimes your halfbacks stay in and they block, and that's where the strength is important. So when you factor in all the different stats, yeah, there are some guys who maybe had a lot of speed, but then their carrying wasn't as good, or they were changed their direction was like 78 or something. So I felt like, overall, Jeff Wilson Jr. was the best fit in terms of being above average in everything that you'd want from a halfback, which is no surprise why the Niners signed him in the first place. And so, we want to try to bring Jeff Wilson back to, fill that number 3 slot behind Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell. And I probably could bid him down a little bit. It's all right, though. Make sure we get him. We don't want to be messing around. We want, we have the cap space. Let's make sure we get these guys. We don't got to worry about fullback. Let's see, wide receiver. I want to go with. There was a lot of guys like you got Odell Beckham, but like I said, these guys are a lot of money. Devontae Adams, that'd be crazy if we could get Devontae Adams, but. The reality is we have Samuel that we're going to look to re-sign, and Ayuk, we're probably going to re-sign him too. So, Some of these guys, yeah, they're good, but some of these guys, like you like Jacoby Myers, he's pretty good. But the problem is that, like, when you look at how much money he's asking for, yeah, his stats are great, but 21.8 million, it's a lot of money. Same with like DJ Chalk Jr. and you know, um, even Henry Ruggs, 16.2 million. And then guys like this, Auden Tate and Deontay Harris, Marquez Valdez Scantling, like that's still a lot of money to pay a slot receiver. So I felt like what made the most sense, even guys like AJ Green, I felt like from there, not quite, 34, not quite as good as, like for instance, I think that a good guy to get would be Kiki QT, even though he's already being bid, people are giving him lukewarm offers. Man, I feel like he'd be a pretty good slot receiver to bring in. Granted that, his medium route's not great, release is okay, but his speed, acceleration, catching is really good. Catching traffic is, about the minimal that you'd want it to be. But he also has, decent deep route running and spectacular catch. And he has decent short route running. So ball carrier vision's 84. Change of direction's really high at 89. Some of those other guys who have higher overalls, they look great, but they don't have good change of direction. I feel like that, this is, very versatile guy right here. So I feel like Kiki QT is a guy that we want to definitely pursue here for that slot position. And we should be outbidding them, yeah, easily. And I also want to bring back, because, like I said, I pre-checked everybody. I went through and spent hours going through and checking everything. And, even guys like Pettis, like, oh, we had Pettis before. Why wouldn't you re-sign him if you wanted to argue that? I mean, he's decent, but, short route running is not really that great. And the change of direction's okay. But I was going for 86 or higher, so he's just a touch under that. But I also wanted to bring back, where is he in here? I want to bring back, he's a good cheap option. He was on a roster last time, and I knew we would get him cheaper if we just waited and signed him at free agency. Right here, Trent Sherfield. So I want to bring him back. All right, so that took care of wide receivers. We're good at tight end. We got Kittle and Dwelly. There's actually a really good one in the draft too. That if it makes sense at the time, we'll pick him up. We're set at left tackle. We got Trent Williams, Justin School, and there's one other guy. I can't think of his name, but he's pretty decent too. We have him. We're gonna try to get Laken Tomlinson, man. I just don't really see any other way around it. We definitely want to get him. That puts us in the lead. Hopefully he resigns with us. That's a position where we have nobody at, so we really want to get Laken Tomlinson back. That was it for the left guards. Obviously, Tomlinson's getting a little bit up there in age, but he's still a very skilled offensive lineman, at left guard, and yeah, he's about the minimal that you want speed and agility for a guy who's this talented. He'll make his lack of athleticism he'll make up for with his skill level. We're going to re-sign Justin Britt as a backup center. He's a very cheap option, actually really pretty good when it comes to his skill. Because he is... I mean, the big thing is the run block finesse is 76 and the pass block finesse is 76. So, definitely important for a center, when you're looking for agile linemen. So he'll be able to back up Mac. If something happens, Mac goes down, we won't be completely in trouble. We're also going to re-sign Daniel Brunskill. Definitely want to re-sign him because he was pretty good for us. He was asking him $10 million, I think, or something like that before. Now he's only asking for 8.0, 8 million. So, 8.02 million. So that's, a couple million less than he wanted when we were, when we were in the player re-signing period. So, just a way to save some money. I think that was it for right guard. And then let's see. We don't need no tackles because we got Justin School at left tackle. We can always slide over to right tackle if McGlinchey gets injured. And I keep forgetting who the other guy is too, but he's actually pretty good. I think he was a rookie last year, and rookie in real life this year, but now in going into this season, upcoming season, he'd be it'd be his second year in the league, and we also can move him over too if we need to. So we're good at right tackle. I think we're all set at end. We got plenty of ends. We got Armstead, D Ford, re-signed Arden Key. There's actually a couple other guys too, for that matter. We got Samson Abukum. So I mean we got Bosa. We're set at end. We're set at end so much that after me thinking about it, like we have Javon Kinlaw and DJ Jones, but I think I'm going to slide Armstead to the inside, which is more of his natural position anyways at defensive tackle. So I think that I'm going to move Armstead over, and that will put Ford on the edge with Arden Key opposite of Nick Bosa. So, and D Ford being a pass rusher too, I think that will really help put pressure on the QB, since we seem to struggle a little bit against the pass, in the beginning of the season. So I think that we might benefit from that, whereas Armstead's more of although Armstead's been power rushing, man, he's been getting to the quarterback, but I think ultimately I'm going to move Armstead to the inside, so we're that way we have a really tough interior. So we're all set there. We're all set at defensive tackle. With that being said, and at end, left outside linebacker. I think we wanted to keep Demetrius Flanagan Fowles because shockingly he was like the best option of all these guys, even though he's way down here. I think the biggest thing that was a standout for him was just having the 87 acceleration and 86 speed. By far was the best option on there, and then still having respectable tackle at 76, and then respectable hit power at 77. Decent zone coverage, not as high as you'd like it to be, but still 65 is much better than most of the linebackers that you find in free agency. And his play recognition leaves a lot to be desired, but still not bad. And he has decent agility too. So, and his jumping's pretty good too. So he's he's got strip ball and high motor for personality traits. So he really has got everything that you could ask for an all around linebacker. So, and he's only asking for not even $1 million, no bonus. So I mean that's a really great cheap option there to bring him in and have an extra linebacker on the roster. I didn't see any inside linebackers whatsoever in the draft or in general. So I think that's going to be tough. We're probably going to go into the season with just Fred Warner, and then if something happens, we'll move somebody into the middle. But but I think that's what's going to be for now. Let's see, did I have anybody else? Oh yeah, and then outside linebacker, I went through and looked at all these guys. There's some guys who, either I felt like was a lot of money. Like Quan Alexander was really good. I think it came down to Quan Alexander, and it came down to Darren Lee here. And I felt like that, even though Quan Alexander's a little bit better in most of the categories, I think what's he want? He's 6.08, and I can get Darren Lee for a couple million cheaper, and he could pretty much do almost everything that Quan Alexander can do, and he's not as injury prone. And Quan, he's been on the roster before. There's a reason we let him go. He's just injury prone. So I felt like that, for the money, Darren Lee's definitely a smarter option to back up Dre Greenlaw. And just add another good, solid linebacker to our roster. So we get Darren Lee. And then I think that just leaves us with just the cornerback position to address, which we definitely want to bring back Verrett. So we're going to offer him his contract that he wanted. And then I think, cap-wise, it worked out. I got $2 million left, which I think I was going to try to bring back K'Wan Williams, which he wants $4 million, so we might not be able to re-sign him. Let's see. Is it going to let me? With $10K left. So that was the maximum I could offer him. And I think that's what I'm going to go with. If we don't get K'Wan, I'm not really, and it's okay. I can live with that. I think it's more important for me to get. Matter of fact, I'm going to wait on K'Wan since nobody's even offering him any money yet. and just make sure that if we need to outbid somebody else, that we do have a little bit of money to be able to outbid. Add a little bit of money if we need to outbid anybody, and we might get some money back too if nobody actually re-signs with us. And I think that's it. So those are the guys that I'm targeting in free agency, and we get who we get, and whoever we don't get, we're gonna have to move on and maybe focus on the draft to fill those gaps. But I think that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and advance this and see who we get to keep and who we don't get to keep. I'm hoping that we get the majority of our guys, man. That'd be huge. Particularly left guard. But there was a few offensive linemen, too. So if we don't get, our offensive linemen, then I'm definitely going to have to really target in the free agency. Well, we did get a bunch of guys. I don't know if we got everybody. But we got a bunch of guys. Let's see. Mock draft. College free agency. Okay, so let's see. So we got Kiki QT, so that's sweet. Let's see, we got Lee, so that's sweet. We got our backup center, J.J. Britt. We got Jeff Wilson Jr. We got Trent Sherfield. We got Foles. Oh, really huge. We got Laken Tomlinson back. And we did get Verrett on the outside. That's huge. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. I think we got everybody. Let's see. And we got Daniel Brunskill. So, that was huge. What a good free agency, man. No, big name splashes that you're going to be like, oh, my God, you got this person. But, we took that money that we got from trading Garoppolo and we spread it around, fill out our roster, and make sure that we don't have any major weak holes. So now, now we can really zero in on who we need in the draft to be able to just fill the last bit of positional needs that we have. And so now we can just do a quick recap after day one, free agency one, of what our roster actually looks like. Having Lance and Foles. Nate Sudfeld probably won't make the roster going into the offseason, but, he's on there for now. So I guess the Trey Lance error has been ushered in. Halfback, we're loaded. We got Mitchell, we got Trey Sermon, Jeff Wilson Jr.'s back, and we got Trent Cannon. And Brian Hill's probably not going to make the roster, but there are 4 solid running backs. I think that can get it done. I think Trey Sermon's going to be a great number 2, third down back, He's got great acceleration, so he should be able to get up to that 86. And, like I said, he's not going to beat people on the edge, but he definitely will be able to power run the football and help us out. And Mitchell, obviously being a superstar, being 84, he's going to be taking the bulk of our carries, and he's young, so yeah, we're going to miss Mostert, but we're going to be okay, that was just the casualties of the cap space, Juszczyk at fullback is no surprise. So now we got Samuel Ayuk, we got Kiki QT in at the slot. He's still young, going to develop. Surprisingly, he had his morale was down, so I think he'll definitely get picked up here, being in our slot. And then we got Trent Sherfield, so if somebody get injured, we can move QT in and then have Sherfield in the slot, and we'll be comfortable. And then one of these 2 guys will be fighting for the final roster spot. We'll have to see. I'll have to look at their stats a little bit closer and see. Catching traffic, it's probably going to be Austin Mack, considering he's got a little bit better catching traffic and a little bit better spectacular catch. Their short route running is about the same. Jumping, yeah, but this dude below is much more physical. So we'll have to see. Who makes it and who ends up getting cut there. But still, the main thing is that we got 4 solid wide receivers now on our roster. Tight ends we're good at. We got Joel, we got Warner. These 2 guys probably won't make it. Left tackle, that's what it is, Jalen Moore. So we can always slide one of these 2 over to right tackle if something happens, and then we got Trent Williams, so we're good there. We were able to get Lincoln Tomlinson back, which is huge. We got Alex Mack, and we got Justin Britt as a backup, which is solid. We got a solid backup center in case something happens to Mack. We won't take too much of a hit at that position. We brought Brunskill back because I just didn't feel like Aaron Banks was going to be able to hack it, So Banks probably won't make the roster once his contract's up. He'll probably get traded for whatever we can get for him, but we brought Brunskill back until he's 30. That buys us some time. We got to really target some offensive linemen in this draft to take over because our offensive line is aging and pretty up there in age. And then we got McGlinchey at right tackle, left end. We got Armstead, who's I'm probably going to move him to the inside right now. Matter of fact. So we're going to move him to the inside, which I think is where the Niners are using him in real life anyways. I think they're using him on the inside. And I think they had Arden Key on the outside next to Bosa. On the opposite. Well, not right next to Bosa, obviously, but I'm saying on the aligned on the other side of Bosa on the edges. And D Ford played good for us, in this last season too. So we had a bunch of sacks on him. So that moves Ford into that starting left end spot. And then we got Arden Key, and we got this Charles guy too, Omen or whatever. Alex Barrett probably won't make the roster, but maybe, take a look and see. 5-year pro, yeah, he might not make it. Let's see. And then right end, we got Bosa, we got Samson Ebukam, so, we're set at end. We got plenty of end depth. And then just moving Armstead over, that makes it huge because now we got Armstead, DJ Jones, and we got Javon Kinlaw at defensive tackle, so... And I'm anticipating that Javon Kinlaw is going to eventually eclipse Jones and be lining up alongside Armstead. But it's nice to know we have Jones. We're signing him. We have him as insurance in case one of these two get injured, Armstead or Javon. And we still got to, I like DJ Jones a lot. Very versatile guy. So I feel like he's going to be really good on the interior as well. So we're set there. We got Aziz Al-Shair back with Flanagan Fowles, so we're good outside linebacker. Fred Warner's our lone inside linebacker, but we can always move. One of these two will move into, probably into that interior linebacker position if, something happens to Warner. And we got Greenlaw, and we brought Darren Lee in, so, 87 speed, 88 acceleration is, agility is really good. 85, change of direction, 75, right on par with Dre Greenlaw. I mean, this dude, Darren Lee, what a value, man. What a value guy. Play recognition's, a little bit lower, 82, but tackling's 82. Like, a solid backup, in case something happens. And then cornerbacks. We managed to get Verrett. We got Mosley. And on day 2, we're going to do day 2 real quick. I'm just going to try to get K1. If we get K1, we're good again. Then we're all set at cornerback for the season. And then our safety positions are all set. Because even though we only got Ward here, we got, Tala Noya Hafunga that we can move over there. And, hopefully I'll be looking to solidify. We got people who can fill the roster. Even though they're, a little bit slower, not quite as talented as I want. At least we got bodies that we can slide over in case one of those guys gets injured. And we just picked up another second-round pick, so we should be able to get a couple offensive linemen. I think that's what I'm going to target in the draft. So, yeah, that puts us in a good position. So we're going to see if we can get K1 real quick in the see if we can get K1 in this day 2, because that's the only guy left that we really need to try to sign. I think we have just enough money, hopefully, to get him. See, hopefully Kawan's still here. Yep. Alright, let's see if we can get him. We should be able to get him. And even though he's a little bit slow, his play recognition is really high. And his zone coverage, man coverage skills, everything is really high. I think that's it. So let's go to 3. And that's it. And we got K1. That's huge. So now we got our slot cornerback. And that's it. And I think that's it for free agency. We've tapped out all our funds. But that's all right because now we don't really need any more money. We got our roster completely done. Completely full. We just looked at this so we can go. Yeah, so now we got K1. We'll just move him below Mosley on the depth chart so that way he's in the slot. We'll have Mosley on the outside with Verrett. And then we got Ambry Thomas now that can go to the outside if somebody gets injured. And we also can, well, we all have to move him inside if something happens to K1, you know, then something happens to Kwan, we'll move him to, move him to the inside into the slot. But for now, I think that's it. I think our roster's pretty set, man. We just got to look forward to the draft now. We got plenty. We know we got picks now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to be able to fill 6 holes, which I think mostly I'm going to target offensive linemen for the most part. Offensive linemen, maybe get another wide receiver. You know, just going to pick the best players that are available with our picks. But that'll end it for this video. You know, that's pretty much going to be it. Let's see, sign free agents. I think I can pretty much just advance this to prepare for the draft. So let's see. You've lost connection to the servers. Oh, that's hilarious. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the season. I always dread that. EA and their bad servers. But yeah, I'm just going to fast forward it to the free agency. And finish free agency. In the next video, we're going to do the draft. But I'll end it here. Thank you guys for joining me. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.